Give me 1 second. I'm gonna grab my phone. All right, back. Okay. Okay. All right. Be quiet, and I'll let you guys know when you guys are okay. Mics are live, and then I'll let you know when I go like aerial view or some shit. Okay. Scores. All right, mics quiet on the set. Quiet on the set. All right, go ahead, guys.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Monday Night Mayhem, our Cup Series, brought to you live on MRL Broadcasting, courtesy of YouTube. This is Mean Gene Money with my tag team partner, Zach Panzarella. We got Kevin Kyle in the booth. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Brickyard, 2.5 miles of asphalt. These guys are getting ready to kick off our second race in our round of 12. I'll tell you what, you got to do good here or next week or you're out of there. Zach, how are we feeling about tonight's race?
One of the coolest tracks on the planet, Mean Gene, and man, these playoffs are going to be super intense. These fields aren't getting any smaller. We have another awesome size field today. It looks like about 22, maybe more. But wow, I'm just so excited to be here today. We're in for another extremely challenging track, intense racing, and a field full of guys who can get it done.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm really hoping that it's a little bit more interesting than what we saw last week. Last week, we were at the Roval, and it was an absolute master class by Buddy Sully. Buddy Sully took all the bonus points away from everybody. This guy got the pole. He got the win. He led the most laps. He led the fastest laps. Let me take a breath. And he had 0 incident points. Buddy Sully just put it to everybody, and that put him up on top of the leaderboard. He's definitely making it to the next round with that win. Who else did good? David Cook. This guy overcame an early crash, come back with a second place finish to keep himself relevant. And then the end of that race, Zach, how about that controversial pass? Sean Walton caught up to Tony Iverson. Iverson was creeping and nobody was talking. I wanted to know, hey, Tony, did you run out of gas or did you let your good buddy Womp Womp go on by? Nobody's saying anything to me. That's a question I'm going to try to, and I'd love to ask for you, me, the fans, and KK at home. You got an opinion on that one, Zach? Was it gas or was it gentlemanly friendship?
Oh man, it's hard to say, especially a track like that where it was so unpredictable. I know Walton, one of the guys that took 2 tires, and really had a handful towards the end of that race is, yeah, we just saw so many crazy stories unfold last week between taking 2 tires and the cautions that we weren't expecting to happen early in that race. And man, it was just a wild, wild one. So it's hard to make any predictions. Granted, Walton, not a full-timer here, not a playoff driver, so would be understandable, and wouldn't be surprised if we don't see any of that today at an oval where I think pretty much all of our playoff drivers are here, and they need points.
Yeah, this is a crazy track. I mean, you're talking about the highest capacity sports venue in the world, 257 plus seats. These guys on a 9.2 banking, and then it's 0 degrees on the straightaways. But I'll tell you what, why am I going to sit here and talk about it when I think we got something better than that, don't we, Zach?
Yes, we do. We have a live edition of Zach on Track today. And man, I'm going to do my best not to embarrass myself in front of these 250,000 plus people. Like
no
you
pressure.
said.
No pressure.
None at all, right? So, like, I actually did find a little bit of speed here because, like, I always bore you guys with, as if you want to ride on board with me right here, Kevin. I don't know what number it has me as. I'm a ghost car.
Ghost Rider.
Oh, well, actually, doesn't look. I'm gonna be able to ride on board with you guys. So let's just go on board with, who is that right there? Is that David Cook? So let's go in the cockpit with these guys, and let me walk you guys through what's going to be vital in this race. And really, it's what you're seeing right there, and that's getting to the bottom of the track in each corner. You really, really need to maximize that time inside and outside of each corner, and really look these unbelievably long straightaways as you're seeing here. So much time can be gained and lost without effective corner exit. And so as you see here, early off the gas, getting to the bottom to make sure that exit's good, even though this is a shorter straightaway. And it looks like this may be a cooldown lap, unless he's running one of the most interesting lines I've ever seen. And it is. Yeah. I was going to say, that would have been the lowest exit ever. But normally what you see there is going towards the wall on a corner exit, and then just really trying to arc everything the best you can. It really is easier said than done, but it's quite... This track is quite the challenge. And here we go with another one. This is 25 of Sanders here, exiting the corner and going down that enormous front stretch. We'll see if this is his first or second lap.
Yep, 5/8 of a mile on both of those straightaways. Pretty amazing run. Then that short shoot, you're going to go, what, about 1/8 of a mile on those 2 short shoots in between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Where's he going? Another interesting line, right?
Yep. We're seeing a lot of guys on their cooldown laps right now. And dang it, yeah. Unfortunately, I think it has me as number 12, Kevin. If you can't see me, then yeah.
Number 12, greatest teammate of all time right now.
Oh, yes, it is. Greatest teammate of all time, number 12, for sure. But yeah, here we are. I believe this is Fritz we're on board with here. But what you're seeing from everybody is just making sure to hug that bottom in corner. Yep. And yeah, we are catching every cooldown lap. But you're seeing that they are still, what's interesting to me, even Kevin, is that they are still practicing that 1 and 2, even on their cooldown lap. And after that is when they're...
It's like John Beverly's live.
And so... Oh, here we go. We got someone. John Beverly looking like he's just on his warm-up lap now. So what you're probably going to see him do is run the top to try to get as much speed as possible. And that's the only way to touch the top. Yep. This entire time. Oh, careful, John. Into the wall he goes. And that looks like that was a, I don't want to say silly mistake, but it's a lot harder to make these next gens turn than it looks. But it looks like Johnson's still going to stay committed here. And here we go into his first lap. So the braking marker here for 1, if you look to your right, you're going to see some 1s and 2s as we get closer to the actual corner itself. The 1 is the braking marker. There it is right there, and that's perfect from John Beverly right there. As he goes all the way to the bottom, hugging that bottom. You can go even lower than that. You can go below that white line there and get a little bit more speed, but it's a risk versus reward situation. Perfect hitting his marks there by Beverly that time. That exit is good. You want to exit a little bit lower, a little bit more in that straightaway, but this is exactly what you want. You want to get that little tiny air bubble up against that wall. There is a tiny bit of speed there, and now this is a weird one. For me, it's in between the 1 and 2. That's what he does too when he starts turning in, and I had the same issue that Beverly's having right now. This is the corner that I kept messing up. I kept not being able to get to the very bottom in 3, and here goes into 4. That one a little bit better than 3 and 4, or than 3 was, but a great exit there. This should be a decent lap by Beverly, and I'd be surprised if he doesn't want to give it another shot. We get 2 laps here. Let's see what Beverly goes with. That's 1 down. That's going to put him Oh, that's a 53.5. John's going to need to find more here, and he misses 1 and 2. And this is a good example of what's going to cause, I believe, a lot of incidents. John's going to go ahead and hang it up there. And honestly, I don't blame him. If you miss that first corner, there really isn't much there for you, Mean Gene. But that is a good example of, I think, what's going to create a lot of our incidents today. Once you miss that bottom, the car just doesn't want to turn anymore, and it's not going to matter if there's someone above you or not. You're going to go straight into them.
Really tough track. It's just so strange. It's got minimal banking, 9.2 degrees of banking in the turns, and no banking on those straightaways. So you can't really fiddle with the car's suspension too much. And that just causes all kinds of incidents, especially with the speeds that you reach going into turns 1 and 3 here. Indianapolis so fast, and they're just going to be putting those brakes to the test. I think mechanical failure might also be on the table, right?
Yeah, and I love that point you made too about the adjustments, because you can make some pretty unique adjustments to this next gen compared to something like iDrive the truck, which is really just brake bias and steering ratio. But with this car, yeah, you can do a lot of nose adjustments, and you can kind of adjust the weight balance of the car, but you also can kind of throw that out the window, like you said, on a flat track like this. It really does. I was actually talking to Alex Hillman, one of the drivers in this league, before we got started here today, and he was just saying to me, I just cannot figure this place out. And you know, Alex is a great driver, and he knows you should be able to. And I just was telling him, it's just such a specific set of skills that make you fast at this track.
Yeah, definitely not like any other track that we have. So many of these tracks, ovals, have so much more banking, and then the D oval is getting very popular now. But this having the 4 turns, really symmetrical also, the way that this track was created. Penske, not just a champion on the track, but also a champion of tracks. This track being owned by Penske Racing. Those qualifying results are starting to come in. Looks like Tony Iverson might be claiming that pole. I think all the results are in. Only a minute and 40 seconds left to qualifying. Look, right now, looks like Tony Iverson laid that banger down, 5.2187. Behind him, David Cook, and oh, no surprise, look who's third. That's Buddy Sully. You know, he'd like to strike like a viper.
Yeah, but what an unreal lap by Tony Iverson. That is 0.3 faster than second place. That is ridiculous. And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't even think Tony Iverson bothered doing his second lap. After he put down that first one, he's like, yep, that will do it. So what a heater. Good luck to the rest of the field if that's any indication of the pace that Iverson has. But with that said, Mean Gene, yeah, we do only have about a minute left until we are gridding this thing up. So let's probably hit our national anthem, huh?
Sounds like it. And ladies and gentlemen, this is MRL. Talk to me, Goose. That's what you hear coming from the radio as those F-14 Tomcats fly over the top. And we're about to see some speed right here on the track also. It is official. Looks like Tony Iverson is going to be your pole sitter. 22 cars here tonight in battle. But really what we're looking at is those 12 guys that are fighting in this playoff format. Remember, you've got 3 races until elimination. This is race 2 of that first round. And right now, if we pull up those points, you're going to see just how tight this thing is. Looks like Buddy Solly, he punched his ticket in with that win last week. Tony Iverson, Cook looking real nice, but the points is really where we start to squeeze. Mason Smalley, he's down there in 8th place. He cannot feel too secure. 1 point ahead of him, Michael Mata. Then there's a gap. Fritz, he's got a nice 7-point lead over Mata. Right below Smalley, Austin Merrow, he's 2 back. And then Dodson and Parham, they are both just 7 points behind that 8th place position. So we're going to learn a lot about what happens here today as far as those cutoffs go. Right now, they are gritting up, and we're going to take a look at some of where these playoff drivers are located.
Yeah, so let's start with our pole sitter, Tony Iverson, a driver who would very much like to just get this first round over with right now, get that win. But man, he's making himself sit real pretty with all those points he's racking out, Mean Gene. And then next to him is a guy with an extremely similar situation, the 71 at David Cook, another driver who has all the speed in the world to get a win, has done it more times in this league than anybody this year. And so definitely someone to watch for today. And rounding out the second row are 2 other playoff drivers. The first, another guy who got a win this year, Jack Stivall. And next to him, our guy who already locked into the round of 8, Buddy Solly.
Yep. Behind that, we see Michael Mata. His late season win punched his ticket into this. But right now, Mata, he is precariously close, only 1 point ahead of that cutoff line. Behind him, David Owens. David's become the silent assassin this year. He does not have any wins in this series yet, but manages to find himself up at the front. Would not be surprised if we could see Zero Chill pull off a dub today. 4th row, Bobby Dodson. You know, Bobby, he's kind of an enigma. He's like the unicorn. This guy, he runs fast. He gets poles. He gets fastest laps. Didn't quite make it in the playoffs, but he could be a spoiler and get after it. Jack Sanders behind him, the Colonel, is in 8th. Justin Parham, 9. That is a playoff driver.
Yes, he is. Justin Parham, a playoff driver.
Down. He's 29 back of the leader and 7 back of that cutoff line. Other people of note that you got to be wondering about. How about Austin Merrow? He cannot have a bad day. He's starting in 12th. And then how about Mason Smalley, even further back in 16? So this is going to be a tough day for the M&M boys.
Yeah, a lot of storylines going on here. A lot of fast drivers. Our defending winner, Jay Stinson, not a playoff driver, but definitely a dangerous one today, starting in 10th. So a lot to look out for as we're getting ready to go green here at the Yard of Bricks, one of the most iconic racetracks on the planet. And we say this a lot, and it's because it's true. Also, one of the most challenging. We've seen some early turn 1 incidents all season, Mean Gene. Could this be another one? Here we go.
I don't know. Last week at the Roval, it didn't get much more intense than that. All right, pace car is off, and we are getting ready to see them go live. Your control car is Iverson on the inside. He's that black and red car. They're in the Geico start zone. Late start. You can see the Duval kind of jumped it, went right into the back of Cook. That didn't give Iverson a great advantage, but it definitely backed up that outside line right now. Tony Iverson on the inside. David Cook, no surprise. He's on Cook's lane on the outside, but Iverson will pinch him up just a little bit. Buddy Solly, Jack Duval. That's your top 4.
Always interested me when that happens in the first restart of a race, Mean Gene, because you're going on the flag, man. You're not going on anything else besides that, so that shouldn't happen. But either way, they got out of there scot-free. Glad it didn't cause any issues, as it looks like everyone here trying to race the track first. A lot of single-file action. Alex Hillman all the way back in the 903, missing the corner badly, running Smalley up the track as Smalley almost touches the wall. This is something you're going to see a lot, especially on these cold tires.
Yeah, these guys in the back, they cannot afford to fall away. You were talking to me earlier about this, Zach, just how tough it is to pass on this track, and you can't allow 3, 4, 5 laps to just go by, find yourself on weak tires, and you got 10 cars of dirty air right in front of you, not where you want to be. Somebody not worried about clean air, that's going to be Tony Iverson, as he is just cutting through it right now. Good lead right behind him, David Cook. Right behind him, you see Buddy Solly, top 3, trying to make a breakaway. And then you got Michael Mata and Jax Duvall behind them. Look at the Hornets back there peeking their noses as they would love to make something happen. But the draft is an issue here, wouldn't you say?
The draft is going to be an issue, and so is going to be the decision-making in terms of when you want to pick and choose your moves. I just saw Justin Parham in the 18 had an enormous run in the 25 of Sanders, chose not to do anything about it because he probably just wanted to kind of bide his time, not make an aggressive move this early, and also not put Sanders in a situation that could, maybe make an enemy for late in this race. Looks like that he doesn't need a second chance, though. Here he goes, Justin Parham, the inside of Sanders. This is our first real pass, and let's see how this goes. Mean Gene, all the way to the bottom. Perfectly executed by Parham, and not to mention Sanders giving him all the room in the world. I don't know if that will be the case as we get later into this race.
I mean, he gave him a warning shot, right? He came down once and let him know I'm faster. And if you're Jack Sanders, last year's defending champion, you know how to win. And sometimes you're not the fastest guy. So let that faster car by. He'll move faster than you. Just get in his draft. He'll pull you up to the front. And maybe after you do some pits, make some adjustments, then you are the faster car. Jack Sanders right there. Definitely let Parham by. And I think that was just a savvy move by the veteran, knowing that his car was not the fastest right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is a long race today. We got 75 laps at this very, very long track. It's definitely one of those races where you have to pick and choose your moves and when you want to race people versus the track. I think one thing that this track has very in common, as you see some really good racing there with Case of Beer, but this track has weirdly in common with the Roval that we were just at last week, Mean Gene, is sometimes the best way to make passes here isn't to actually make a move on track. It's to wait for the guy that you're racing in front of you to make a mistake. And some of the best ways to do that is to do what we saw Parham do, kind of just poke your nose in there, show him, hey, buddy, I'm here, I'm faster than you. And oftentimes that either lets someone give you that room you need or baits them into a mistake.
Yeah, this early in the race, most of these drivers, they're not going to be trying to block you, especially those playoff drivers. They're not here on accident. They avoid the foolish wrecks, and that's how you cause one of those foolish wrecks. A little bit further in the back of the field, that's where you can see some wild racing. I've got an eye on Jose Medina. He'll close the gap and then have a little bit of difficulty in the turn. That's that 54 running in the back. Right ahead of him, Andrew Bolander. Bolander's a Wednesday night series winner. He's won races there right now. He's right behind Case of Beer, and so really seeing some fun action all throughout this track. Tony Iverson, though, he's still leading. He's got that 0.4 of a second lead over David Cook, Buddy Sully as well, and then you can see a little bit of a gap where Michael Mata doesn't want to lose him. And then you got Duvall, Owens, Bobby Dodson. So we're starting to see these guys lay down some bangers. How about them tires, Zach? You think at some point we're going to start wondering about tire wear?
Yeah, I wish I got more time to practice to really get that feeling, but my assumption, and just knowing the next gen as much as the limited amount that I do, but also knowing the way the turns at this track trend and this track can trend, it's going to get tight, I think, Mean Gene. I think it's going to get really, really difficult to exit these corners. You're going to start seeing a lot of drivers start pancaking the wall on exit. Also, let's go to the 48 of Fritz real quick, Kevin, if we can. He's in a pretty intense battle with the 19 of Amato. Amato, another really fast driver. I want to have a really quick conversation because you just talked about drivers, playoff drivers namely, that know what to do, and they have really, really good decision-making ability, and that's why they've accumulated enough points to be here in the playoffs. And I think Fritz is a great example of that. But we were talking before this race today about maybe a flip side of being somebody like Matthew Fritz. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, Mean Gene?
Well, again, remember, this is coming from a guy that I do not run at this level of cars. So I'm not sure exactly when is the chance to take them in the car. But I have noticed that to win, you got to take chances. You can't just sit back and allow things to unfold. Sometimes you got to hope that car can hold it and have the balls to pass on the high side, as Rowdy Burns might say some of people don't have. The question about Matthew Fritz that I have is, when is he going to make that move that we think he might crash? We've seen that out of all of the other drivers. You know, Jonathan Quesabir, this guy has pushed it to the limit, almost won, and then got beat on fuel. I've seen him wreck it as well, but he didn't lose that race on that super speedway at Daytona because of his driving. He lost it because of fuel. Other guys we've seen take chances. Michael Mata, he crashed the heck out of his car 2 weeks earlier and then comes back and gets a dub. So I think loose is fast and fast is on the edge of out of control. But you as that driver, I think sometimes you got to make that move. You might be hesitant to make it against your friends, but I'm sorry. If it's me and you, Zach, and we're going into the last two turns on that final lap, you know, I might decide that I'm the 22 and you're the 24, and we're just going to have to talk about it at the end.
No, yeah, and I think, I mean, very eloquently put, Mean Gene, and that is essentially exactly how you kind of have to be. And Matthew Fritz is, without a doubt, the best example of that type of driver in our Cup Series MRL league here. And I think what's also something worth mentioning with someone like Fritz is he's still relatively new to MRL. So you're spending a lot of that time trying to gain that respect, gain that trust. You know you're fast. And I think what you're, right, I know what you're saying too about Fritz is like, we know he's faster than what he's showing. He's just hiding a little, or not showing a little bit out of fear of being that guy to make that mistake, create an enemy. And you're new to the league. You have to race these guys every week. So it's not like an official where you may not see that guy again if something goes wrong with him. So it's a tough balance you need to strike. And I think Fritz is at the point where I agree with you. It's time to start taking those chances. It's time to start showing, I know you guys trust me. I've earned that trust. I can be aggressive too. And you can trust me in those situations as well. As you see right here, Fritz racing the 8. He getting a little bit, I don't want to say taking advantage of, but also doing that Fritz decision making that he's so known for, which is just patience and always being there in the end. But it's hard to cross the finish line first that way, me and Gene.
It is, and we got to keep in mind also, it's early in the race. We're lap 10 out of 75. There is no stage break. There is no scheduled caution. So if you screw up here, sure, there's a faster pair, but you're going to be doing it under a green flag situation, or even if there's a caution, that's going to force you to the back. Ooh, the 19 really had an issue right there. That's Joseph Amato, a little bit of craziness by his car. He pulls down, the race goes on. But this is a situation like Matthew right now running in 15th. I mean, how long can you cruise around in 15th place, 11 seconds behind the leader, before you got to kick it into gear? But you can't kick it into gear because you're being blocked right now by a bunch of fellas who aren't even in the points chase. So maybe you got to do it to somebody. You know, Alex Hillman, he's a good guy. I've seen him win. Jay Stinson, the guy won here last year. Bobby Dodson, he's fast. Jack Sanders. Well, guess what? None of them are in the playoffs. You got to move those cars if you want to get up there and get those points.
It's a tough situation, me and Gene, because as a playoff driver, you oftentimes kind of expect that respect, right? You're like, dude, move. You're not in the playoffs, but at the same time, hey, they showed up here to race. They deserve that trophy, and they have every right to it as you do. So it's a tough balance that, I guess, another balance that we're talking about having to strike. If you want to check out some tire wear here, Kevin, go to that 28 and that 2. The 2 of Stinson and the 28 of Mero are in an intense battle, and it looks like Mero might have more tire on that car than Stinson does, but you can just tell, especially with this little snake that we have forming here, it is not easy to pass here. It really isn't.
Nope, that 904 of Hillman, he's leading that group. Looks like he's in a different paint scheme tonight. What is that, a Red Bull scheme? I can't really tell from up here in the blimp. And then Stinson in the 2. And look how they close that gap, that 28 and that 26, the M&M boys. They seems to have found each other. And Fritz stuck behind them. Now, those M&M boys, they are playoff drivers. So Fritz, he has an opportunity to get a little bit of points in his favor, even this far back in the field. Really amazing to see how many of these drivers that did make the playoffs having a little bit of difficulty here at the Brickyard today, but guy not having it, going to be Tony Iverson. He's still rocking that 0.4 of a second lead over David Cook and Buddy Sully right behind him. So those top 4 guys, really just the cream's rising to the top. Going to be interesting to see if they do have to come in on a green flag pit stop. I've been told they can get about 30 laps out of these cars green flag. So we're 13 laps into it. Almost at that halfway point. Question is, will the tires last that long?
Yeah, that's going to be fascinating. And also, question is, who's been saving and who hasn't? It's hard to even tell by watching who's saving and who isn't. I can tell you right now, like I'm looking at cars like the 11 of Owens. He can barely hold the bottom anymore. Here comes Parham to the bottom of Owens to try to make a pass here, and a lot of that. By the way, Owens very proud of that paint scheme, so it worked. He was gonna be very upset if Trading Paints didn't update, so it did. He's very happy. He's throwing it back to his boy Tony Stewart. But what a great pass by Parham is. Parham is really the only car, Mean Gene, that I'm seeing make meaningful wayward movement forward. I'm not even sure if that sentence worked, but even someone like I appreciate it. Someone like Bolander, who we've talked about a lot. He's someone who is a Xfinity not only mainstay, but someone who has multiple wins there. A really, really quick driver. Someone who you would expect to kind of be a ringer when he comes and makes these one-off next-gen appearances. Still stuck in 15th place. It's looking like to me. 13th now is looks like there's a few mistakes in front of him, but it really just goes to show. If I was getting ready for this race, Mean Gene, if I was one of these guys in this field today, I would have really, really focused hard on having a really good hot lap time, doing what Tony Iverson did, being disgustingly fast for one lap, because look at how much that's working out for the guys who qualified in the top 5.
Yeah, like you said at the beginning of the broadcast, passing is just going to be so difficult. Parham really the only guy that we've seen with the testicular fortitude to just stick that nose down there and trust that his tires are going to hold. And right now you can see right behind him, David Owens. Whoa. I think every time we say David Owens' name, we might have to give the old shout out to Tony Stewart. A little side-by-side racing right there by Parham and Duval and David goodness. Owens right there. I'll avoid the whistle now. Twice as funny, 3 times as obnoxious.
Sometimes Jax does things that, I mean, he's such a good driver. He won Bristol PRL last year, but oh man.
Look at the abuse, little punch. That was what I was talking about. Sometimes you just got to move a car out of your way. Owens made that contact. It didn't destroy Parham. It made him go faster. But the next time those two get together, I think Parham will think, if Owens is faster, maybe I should just kind of glide up into that second lane.
Or he owes him a boop. Because, yeah, Parham just ate that like a monster. He was like, oh, you want to give me a little boop? You think I'm going to get that that's unsettle me? No, it's not. He just sent it in and it stuck. Parham is doing something that no one in front or behind him is doing, because he's passing cars, and then when he passes them, he's driving away from them in a hurry. But, yeah, I'm not going to lie. If I'm Justin Parham and that just happened to me from David Owens, and I'm in that same situation and we did that 11 car in front of me later in this race, yeah, guess what I'm doing?
You're going to help him. You're going to bump draft.
Exactly. I'm just going to give him that same helpful move that he gave to me. Just got to return the favor somehow.
What is up? Looks like Mason Smalley. This guy might have pitted a little bit earlier than everybody else, being shown down 1 lap down. That's an early pit. But is it really an early pit? Everybody's going to need to pit twice to make it to the end of this thing. You know, doing a little math, 30 plus 30 is 60, and you're still 15 short. So everybody's going to come in and pit twice. No way to really make that fuel stretch out unless there's some cautions that make those adjustments. Remember, there will be no caution and when we hit that halfway point. So Mason Smalley, he's the first guy, and hey, why not, right? Come on in, make that pit stop. It was 14.3 seconds, so that means 4 freshies and a full tank of gas.
You know what's so crazy to me about that, Mean Gene? At first, I looked at that and I was like, why is he a lap down? These are 40-second laps. These are, for an oval, considerably longer laps. But you know why? Look at the gap. Look at the gap of where Smalley was running, Mean Gene. This top 4 is annihilating the rest of the field.
They checked out. And then Parham, it took him so long to cut through that traffic, even though he's running fast laps. Parham now into 5th, leading that second group. That's going to be a huge obstacle to overcome.
Oh, huge. If we stay green, I mean, nearly insurmountable. And gosh, I mean, I think we got to start calling. We got the 27 club. We have that group. And I mean, Michael Mata, you will be joining this. It may become the Big 4, but I think we can officially call this group, our top 3 right now, the Big 3. Because these guys are just running stuff lately, aren't they?
Oh, it seems like it. It's only a matter of time and until we see one of these guys strike again and take another dub off the board. But, you know, Mata, he's in that mess as well. And I think if we have any type of caution we're definitely going to see another guy might throw his name into that. Fast Justin Parham. Bobby Dodson also laid down a burner that last time. If they could close up and get within striking distance. I mean, it's like you said, it is just so hard to pass. Those top 4 guys got away, but then look right behind them. Parham and that group, they're all within inches of each other.
Did you see that difference in corner entry speed there? Like, I think Sully got a little bit spooked there because David Cook really checked up on entry, and like you just said, Mean Gene, and like we're gonna say this probably 20 times. So we apologize in advance. It's so hard to pass. Tony Iverson, that last lap, botched turn 3. Like, he missed it entirely, and there was nothing David Cook could do. It just wasn't enough time to position himself in 4, and maybe that's why going into 1 he checked up so early. But keep your eye on this again. That 71 and that 21 and the 13 for that matter, way different corner entry speed. And I think what that is, Mean Gene, I think David Cook saw the 13 miss 3 super badly and thought, oh, his tires are worse than mine are. No reason for me to push it. He's going to overdrive one of these corners, and I'm going to make sure I have it backed up.
Yeah, that's the thing about David Cook. We've seen him show that patience before and allow you to take yourself out of the race. And Cook also is a hell of a good guy going into the pits. You know, he makes really good times, doesn't speed very often. Don't want to jinx him.
Oh,
No
God,
broadcaster
that was
jinx.
so mean of you. That was so mean of you.
So that's a guy right there, though, that Cook, you know, he'll ride it right along the lines. He's on the engineer flow chart as far as what the driver is supposed to do. So if you mess up on any of those circumstances, he could take an opportunity right there. But a guy we really also, I mean, all of the drivers right now, very rarely do we see them overdrive the pits or not. Look at Parham closing the gap on Case of Beer. Case of Beer did pit, took 2 freshies, but yet he's being passed by Parham and David Owens right now. So I wonder if Case of Beer is doing some kind of counting backwards in his head right now, getting passed by those older tire cars.
Case of Beer has earned 2 stage wins this season doing that exact thing, but I guess you take the 2 to jump Smalley because of how early he pit than you, but I mean, just like last week, Mean Gene, why would you take 2? I mean, you could tell these cars are already not driving great, but hey, that's why Case of Beer is out there and I'm not, because he has the, as you call it, testicular fortitude to take on 2 tires. I would not do that, but we'll see how that works out for him. And yeah, man, this is crazy watching Cook, Iverson, and Sully right here. And as they go down the straightaway, you're starting to see a little bit here is you're seeing it from Iverson, what I like to call the little IndyCar sneaky snake. When you're going down the straightaway and you're doing that, and you do that to break the draft, you're going up and down the straightaway, kind of curving the car. Not great for the tires. Doesn't have the same effect on iRacing as it does in real life. But nonetheless, what that normally tells me is that Iverson is taking anything he can get to keep that 71 behind him.
Well, we're in the pit window right now as far as 2 pit stops to make it to the end. So burn the tires, right? As long as they're going straight and you're not having difficulty, why not do some tricky stuff on these last 0 to 8 laps before you decide to bring it into the pit? I mean, let's face it, if he snakes it enough, they might drop Mata off of that tail and make his life easier as he's only going to have 3 guys to deal with, but or 2 guys to deal with. But the 2 guys that he's dealing with right now, David Cook, Buddy Solly, I mean, those guys are 1 and 2 in the point, 1 and 3 in the points. So top 3 drivers right now, also your top 3 in championship points. And those, you know, what is going on? That car right there, the gap.
Was that Jax Duvall, I believe?
That is Duvall.
Amazing entrance by Jax. God, that was awesome. Jeez, that was aggressive.
Let's see if he was speeding. We're going to find out because he shut it down quick.
Right. If he didn't speed, wow, hats off. That was sexy.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep an eye on him and see if he gets held there for a little while. Oh, here we go. Beautiful in-car cam. This is like driving with my sister right here, and he just decides, I'm going to pull it in. This is the last break for stop for cigarettes. Oh, he was moving.
It's like that one Family Guy clip. I won't say which one, but I think they know what I'm talking about. Yellow's out, guys. Oh, that is probably... Oh my gosh, that's so good for Jax. As long as I don't think there's no way he got lapped, Mean Gene. So Jax is gonna be our leader. Let's see what caused this yellow.
Yeah, he's coming out. Looks like no speeding for Jax Duvall.
Could have told you this would be where it was gonna happen, Mean Gene. I could have told you this part of the field was where we'd get it.
Oh, little wall hit. Is that Bobby Dodson?
Oh, and that's Fritz, isn't it? And it wasn't even him making the aggressive move that would like imagine if it was him like actually making a crazy aggressive move.
He's thinking that's why I don't do that.
Oh man, these first cautions are always comedy.
Getting close to Dodson does not constitute a risky move. Sorry, you gotta have to stick your nose in there and do something really frisky before we're gonna call it. So that is going to bring out our first caution of the day. Lots of green flag racing there before we hit that, though. That was really nice stuff.
Yeah, that was an awesome first run. Jax Duvall got a Christmas present early. Skip Thanksgiving. Screw that holiday, according to Jax, because he just got his best Christmas present. This guy's going to get the lead with 0 lap older tires. Like, he just has the lead now.
That's beautiful.
Oh, my gosh. Like, it just can't get any better than that. And he can easily get the stage from that. I mean, Gene will probably have, what, 75 divided by 2 is 32, so lap 33 will be the end, so probably 7 to go when we go green maybe in the stage. So awesome situation for Mr. Jax Duvall. Good for him. That's why you take those chances. And it wasn't even that risky because it wasn't probably that far off of when people were going to pit, maybe 5 laps, as you see essentially the whole field coming in now. I'll
tell you who ain't coming in. How about Jonathan Quesabir? He's not coming in. He's going to go ahead and take that wave around.
Oh, right, because he went a lap down. Yeah, you're right. He has to do that. That also is what's so crazy about the the 8 very much missing his pit stall. But that really is one of the 8 just can't figure out what this is.
It's Smalley not going to get. I'm sorry. Quesabir is the lucky dog, and Smalley is going to get stuck a lap down because Duvall didn't pit. So the 26 of Mason Smalley is going to take it right in the toxic, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He'll be in the lead, but not what he wanted to happen, especially since he's number 8 in points.
Well, I have a technical NASCAR question for you, Mean Gene, which I don't even know the answer to. Would that not make him the lucky dog? Or does Case of Beer, even with the wave around, maintain lucky dog rights?
I think, Case of Beer was the lucky dog. There was no wave around because...
because Jack stayed out.
All ruined it for everybody.
Oh my gosh, I'm an idiot. You're totally right. That's exactly what happened.
I think what we're going to see is the 26 tap the brakes and then take a hard right and pull a Bubba Wallace and say that his steering and his brakes went out at the same time, but they're okay now.
Yeah, yep, exactly. And yeah, exactly. Wow. My bad for missing that. You're right. God, that Duvall caution
is... He's Florida man. He defies logic. He's Florida man. Don't challenge him.
What is a Florida person good for? Just bringing mayhem into any situation. Just delivering on that.
I mean, if you want a good time, go ahead and type in your birth date in Google search and then hit Florida Man at the end of it and watch what you get. You're going to get Florida Man did something crazy on your birthday. That's always a fun game to play with your Google search engine.
It's so true. If you haven't done that, you haven't lived. And yeah, mine, I think my birthday was someone, which is very Florida. I'm sure this happens every day there, but someone like wrestled an alligator and won.
Nice.
He had the assistance of substance, but we don't have to go that. I mean, like, obviously, it's kind of like that one scene of Scarface before he dies. It's like one of those things, you know? But anyway, back onto racing matters.
Here we go.
As we're here talking about, it's almost like
Florida man cruises down I-95 on his motorcycle, shirtless, barefoot, steering his motorcycle with his feet while lying on his back. There it is.
He had pants on?
Good times. Yeah, he had pants on. What a boring Florida man.
Honestly.
All right, so looks like other people taking a pit. John Beverly, he's coming out now. Looks like he wanted to go ahead and top off one time. 56.3 seconds for Beverly on that pit stop. So he might have had a little bit of wacky poo on the side of his car. Other long ones, look at Austin Marrow, still on that lead lap, but a 42-second pit stop for him. Matthew Fritz, 31.8 after that fun little whirly deal, whirly bird smile that he had.
Case of beer in there for 40 seconds, Mean Gene. So that lucky dog working out for him, because if there was a wave around, which there wasn't, but if there was one, you can't even pit, which is awful. So at least he got to get that lucky dog and bring it around and pit. And also, one more thing about what Jax just did. What makes it even better, Mean Gene, he's trapping other playoff cars laps down. I mean, like, that is exactly what you want to do, right? When it comes to the playoffs, it's all about how can I make your race more miserable.
I think we say that's doing the Owens, right?
I think Owens would probably call it doing the Panzarella. So yeah, sure.
I love it. I remember just this year though, David Owens needed tires, needed fuel, chose to stay out to put like 10 cars a lap down.
Yep.
And then there was a wreck right afterwards, and he went ahead and took that opportunity to pit, and his teammate Matt Novella didn't pit, keeping those guys a lap down. So Gulf Coast Racing with a little bit of magic during that event. All right, pace car is off. We're about to go green. Jax Duvall, he is your control car on the inside. Tony Iverson on the outside. So fast, and here's those other two fast guys. Good jump by Jax Duvall. Remember, all these tires have about the same wear. Everybody had enough gas to make it to that final stage, so we're going to see just how fast we can get to lap 38.
71 Cook
Iverson.
did not go. Rough restart from Cook. It's been a few. Oh wow, loose from Owens. Nice recovery from Owens.
How does that happen?
Cold tires, Mean Gene. That's another thing that I heard brought up a lot from the drivers here, that this track on cold tires, I think due to the lack of banking, is not a good time.
Ooh, look at this. Here's some interesting stuff. On this restart, it looks like Jose Medina, he was running a little bit further in the back, suddenly at 11th place. Let's keep an eye on that 54 Teal car and see how he manages to work through traffic. 57 of Brandon Guerin, also in that same situation. So a couple of guys that haven't been a part of the field now magically find themselves in the depths, in the bowels of racing. Look at Fritz. He was with Bobby Dodson earlier, and now he's with Jose Medina. Again, drafting behind drivers is not a dangerous place to be. David Owens now straightening out his mess. He gives Bobby Dodson a little wacky poo as these guys are racing hard. Look at Cook and Buddy Sully side by side.
The 57 nearly goes around. Looks like he was able to save it. Regardless of the... Wow, that is impressive. Some Tokyo Drift action. Well done by Guerin to get it back on the track. But you know what I'm seeing here, Mean Gene? I'm seeing guys who realized what we saw on that first run. You can't pass here. This is the time to do it. This aggression is times 10 what we saw to start this race.
But they have to. I mean, you're in the second round of a second race of a 3-race elimination. If you fall asleep here, you're going to wake up eliminated. Nobody can take that chance. And you know, if you push it, they push it, and they wreck, and then you can back off. So sometimes it's just a straight battle of attrition. Guys that really can't afford to lose position are forced to push. And right now, I'm looking specifically at that 28 of Austin Merrow as he finds himself back in 15th place. And then Mason Smalley back in 17th. These two guys, the M&M boys, they got to turn it on or they're going to find themselves behind that 8 ball. Look at Jay Stinson right there following the 19 of Joe Amato.
Ooh, was
that a wall tap by the 904?
Yep, Hillman in the wall, and right before that, it was Owens in the wall. No, people really struggling to make these corners, and this could be 3 wide. What does Fritz decide to do here? Does he send it on the 8? Gives him room. Gotta go lower. Yeah, I agree. And, oh, man, Alex Hillman, looking like he has old tires out here, cannot make these corners. You got to get to the bottom.
Fritz has got to do it. Did you see Fritz let off right there in that turn? That's a place where I think he's got to stick his nose down there and say, get the hell out of my way. But that was the 54 of Medina, and perhaps he knows Medina, this is his first season here, and he didn't want to put that much pressure this early on the California driver. But that's a spot, what I'm talking about. You got to put your nose down there. Medina has won races in other leagues. He's running packs. We've seen him progress as far as how his situational awareness works, and I think Medina would let off, and then Fritz would have been by him in that turn, and then the 48 car's looking forward to get past Merrow and Bolander, but instead he's going to stay behind the 54.
Yeah, honestly, Jimmy, you're right. You got that fast repair, man. Use it. Like, that was one of those situations where you got to send it in. You got to assert yourself. You got to show I am here and I have the talent to make it stick. We know he does. And yeah, I mean, look what it's doing to him. And I don't want to go hard on Fritz. And Matthew, if you're watching this later on today, it's because you're so good.
I love you, man. I love you, man.
I know, exactly. I feel like we're picking on him, me and Gene. We're really not, Matthew. But this, I mean, and to be fair to him as well, this level of aggression is insane, and people are left and right missing these corners, slapping the wall. And if you're right behind that car, and whether or not you miss the corner too, but if you were, a car length to the wall, that's close enough to you. You can't just turn to the inside. I get why he's trying to back up these corners and make sure. I don't think he's going to make the corner. I don't want to ball him into the wall. I get it. I get it. You live and you learn. Hopefully he gets another restart, because it really does seem like me and Gene, and not does it does just seem like this is the reality of the situation. You gotta make the most out of these restarts. Period. You need to.
Yeah, and you can't allow yourself to fall back. I'll tell you who made the most out of that restart. Tony Iverson quickly made his way past Duval. Iverson in the lead. Michael Mata now in that second position. He got past Cook, and there's a nice 2-second gap behind Mata. So Iverson and Mata breaking away right now. Then you got Cook and Duval, and then all of a sudden it begins. Parr and Buddy Sully falling back into sixth. So this will be a good chance for Buddy Sully to show exactly what he can do with that car and just how aggressive he will be. Right now, though, Buddy Sully, he's in that 21. He's behind the 18 of Parham, and Parham has proved all day that he is not afraid to stick his nose into some foolishness. A lot of different entrance speeds, too, right there. That was really amazing.
Yeah, we saw that in the last run. We're seeing it even earlier in this run, and that really has been one of the more like compelling parts of this race. Has been the different entry. Really, it's not just speeds. I mean, James, it's approaches. It's really just completely different approaches. I'm surprised it hasn't created more incidents, because that really is how you can see someone just getting shipped into a corner accidentally when one person might send it in deeper and the other one doesn't. Another thing that we're not talking about enough, and we haven't even brought it up yet, and we're going to see. I'm glad that Kevin just went to this, and you're seeing with the 16. I think the 16 is faster, Mean Gene. I really do. But the reason why he can't do anything, it's just dirty air. Dirty air on these flat, fast tracks is just absolutely disgusting. It's the worst part about racing. And by the way, this is the white flag lap to complete the stage. So this should be it for Tony Iverson. And wow, if that's Jonathan Case of Beer, just the difference between 2 laps and perhaps an instant, or I mean 2 tires, and an incident that may come with it, that's a telling thing right there. Is Case of Beer getting lapped on speed right there? Oh, that exit speed was, or the exit angle was not great. Oh gosh, but Tony Iverson, congratulations, stage winner. But watch how much the dirty air just completely destroys the exits for the 16 Amada. He really can't make it stick the way I feel like he knows that 16 can. And this isn't a track where there's multiple lines. That's how you beat dirty air, is you find somewhere else. Where else do you go here?
No, there's really not that chance. He's going to have to hope that a guy who doesn't make mistakes all of a sudden makes a mistake. The only mistake I've ever seen Iverson make was counting backwards, and he learned that lesson after week 1 at Charlotte when we saw Jax take that win away from him on gas mileage, and you're not going to see Iverson fall for the same trick again. What was the old saying by our president? Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, won't get fooled again.
Fool can't get fooled again.
Wiser words were never spoken. So I don't think we're going to see Iverson make that kind of mistake. But him and Mata, I mean, 2.2 seconds. Cook's trying to close that gap. Interesting to see just how fast Cook can be in certain parts of the track. You know, these turns also 9.2 degrees. The turns are also about a quarter mile each. So there's a lot of space on every part of this track, which allows them to have those different entrance speeds and exit speeds. But overall, unless you can get in that clean air, like you said, Zach, this is just going to be rough running.
Yeah, and Mata is doing a really, really interesting approach towards trying to find clean air. I like what he's doing. Wow, as we saw right there with Case of Beer just struggling. But let's go to Mata. Go to the blimp view real quick here, Kevin, if you can. So you'll see it here, Mean Gene, if he wants to do it again. What Mata is trying to do to find clean air is he drives it in crazy deep to where he almost drifts to the top lane, but it gives him the entry gain that he needs to where he can get some. He's going to do it here. So there it is. He's going to drive it in deep. So he ends up higher than Tony Iverson does a little bit, but Tony Iverson there air blocking the absolute hell out of him. If we're being honest, like just Tony Iverson, that's in these next gen cars, you have that, you know, digital rear view camera, and Tony Iverson is driving out of that thing more than he's driving out of his windshield right now, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's how you keep the lead at tracks like this when you're not sure about your speed versus the car behind you. I mean, the yells out.
Caution number 2 on the day.
Amato apparently in this one. Let's see here. Oh, Dodson there again. Does he do another wall slap for me, Gene? No, he doesn't.
Oh no, he's coming back on the track.
Watch out. Nice job by Amato to lock it up. Gosh, that isn't something, Mean Gene, if I'm gonna call out just every sim racer in the world right now, that we should have to like compliment. Yeah, right, or even point out, but it is, because no one does what Amato just did. So thank you, Joseph. Everyone appreciates you. The whole sim racing world is applauding you right now.
Well, I think Joe's got a lot of experience, though. Remember, he is not just a member, but he's also the captain of T-Bone Racing over on that Wednesday Night Xfinity League. So Amato is accustomed to what causes those accidents. So he locked it up, and he did the smart thing, which was to not allow his car to go sideways. You know, there's some hungry drivers out there. When they see that opportunity to take a bite out of that steak, it's T-Bone time.
Yes, sir. All right, so I'm going to assume, me and Gene, I believe these guys, correct me if I'm wrong, they have 3 sets of tires, right?
4. You're right. 3 in the pit, 1 in the car.
Oh, 3 in the pit. Okay. So 2 left, assuming that your name isn't Case of Beer or Smalley. I would absolutely throw a set on right now. I'd give up track position for it.
And how about this? 30 laps, 30.8 is what my car said. When I turned the game on and didn't run any laps, but was just looking down there at estimated fuel.
Yeah, and definitely bought the track before the race.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah.
So think about what's going to happen when they come out of here.
Mata stays out.
There is going to be a lot of opportunities for people to start fuel saving. And I think this is going to cause a lot of frustration by some drivers that don't want to play that fuel saving game. But once we turn this thing over, especially folks that'll come in for that last little splash before we go green, that'll be highly interesting. Like, I'm not even worried about Mata not pitting here because I think so many cars are going to come in and get a little extra splash.
I'm worried, me and Gene. I think Michael Mata just... I'm having Bristol flashbacks right now when he controlled the race and then he lost it on the pits, but it wasn't his fault. Oh, okay. Owens, clearly just a splash. So this is going to help Mata. Owens, definitely just a splash. Everyone else, I'm seeing... Hold on. I'm seeing...
Wiggle by Cook coming out.
Yeah, that was. And Jack's got him. But, okay. So I'm seeing 13 seconds, 14 seconds, 14. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not going to speculate until they cross the line. That felt like, to me, a lot of 2-tire stops. We'll see. And before we continue, I don't think there's a better time than any to pull up our previous race stats from last season here, because that's going to really, really tell you what we're kind of seeing go on here and what you were just talking about there, me and Gene. So Jay Stinson, a really, really quick driver who, and again, I'm not going to take anything away from him here. He can win it on speed, but on this specific day, he didn't. So Jay Stinson won this race last year. Our stage winner was Tony Iverson, who I actually believe was like a rookie back then in MRL. So that was really cool to see. He definitely made an impact right when he came here. So cool for Iverson, and cool to see where he's came since then. And then our pole was Owens, but then this is where I there's no footage of this race, but this is where I'm led to believe, and from talking to other people, that Jay Stinson may have not been the fastest car out there that day. Volpus led 31 laps, Iverson led 25, Owens led 19, and Stinson led the most important 5. The fastest lap and the speed rating, so the fastest car on the track essentially, was David Owens, and we had 4 cautions. So we have 2 more to go today. We'll see. But a lot of people use the word fuel race when I asked them about last year. So I think that's how Stinson got it done. But again, I'm sure Stinson wasn't the only one on that fuel strategy. He still has to be faster than everybody else in that strategy. So good for him. I've won races that way. There's nothing wrong with that. But what that does go to show is that you're right. Like me and Gene. Okay, I'm looking at the pit stops here. Owens took 5 seconds. That's not even 2 tires. So our front row is on no tires. Everyone besides them is 14 seconds. So that's 4 tires all the way behind them. I'm worried about the 16, and I'm worried about the 11.
Well, you have to be, because we've seen people in the front get ate up so quickly. So perhaps they're just thinking there might be another caution. I think people are going to start counting backwards. You do the 31 laps to this thing right now. You're looking at around lap 71, which means you just got to save 4 laps of fuel. I think it's possible. So Tony Iverson, fool me once, won't get fooled again. He's in 3rd place right now. And he's fully aware, especially leading the most laps last year, just to not lead the final 5 and watch Jay Stinson win that thing on a fuel strategy. So Iverson fully aware of what happened. And then on the outside of him, you can see Jax Duvall. He won at Charlotte based on fuel strategy. So a lot of smart drivers up here with a lot of TI Texas Instruments calculators being worked over down there in Gasoline Alley.
Oh yeah, those calculators are on fire right now, Gene. I mean, this is when you really have to pick and choose. You know, Jax Duvall is going to be aggressive. His name is Jax Duvall. He's from Florida, but Tony Iverson really has to be calculated here. He's going to be a lot faster than that 16, that 11, but don't get anxious. Don't go early. Don't create a situation that's crazy. But also, I know why Michael Mata did this, and it's what we were speculating about. He thought he was faster, Gene. He just wants to be ahead of that 13 and see what happens. So let's find out.
Other people I want to keep an eye on is that 21 of Buddy Sully. He's a little bit further back, but he's checkers or wreckers here. He's already in. Why not force it? Here we go. We are rolling up. Pit car is gone. We're in the Geico restart. Look at that jump by Mata. Great jump. He leaves Owens behind. Iverson on that inside lane tries to draw side by side with Owens. A little bit of side draft. Did you see Duvall come down and cut that air off Iverson, keeping Owens and Iverson side by side? And Iverson loses it to Owens. Owens on that outside lane just had more momentum. And we are booking it here, but who's really booking it? That's Michael Mata getting a good run. We'll see how long, though, that he can make it out there on those weaker tires.
Jax Duvall has just been unable to figure out his car on the short or on the immediate short runs on the restarts. Great long run car, but oh, here goes David Cook with a huge block by Iverson to not give Cook the 3 wide. Can't blame anyone there. And look at Michael Mata getting here to check out. I'm really curious about what happens down here down the front stretch, Gene. I think this will be when we really see the difference between the new and old tires and just how drastic of a difference that is. Look at the ability to turn that Cook has there. We're going to be going 3 wide into turn 1. Here we go.
Really exciting. Brandon Guerin in the back going the wrong way, causing a little bit of a log jam. Up front, though, 3 wide. Amazing racing. Cook's going to let off a little bit. Iverson comes down, almost makes contact with Cook. Owens on that outside. We stay 3 wide as we are racing here through that back chute. And look at Owens go high. He needs that momentum. He's not going to get it. Parham pulls up side by side. Owens taps the wall, gets 8 up all the way back to Buddy Sully. And here comes Jose Medina making a heck of a good run for Jose. Gonna push himself up into 7th place, but who's the beneficiary? It's your 2-second leader, Michael Mata, trying to run away with this bad boy.
What will the angle of the corner and dirty air do for you? Look at that 11 and that 16. Same tire situation. Michael Mata checking out in the field. We'll see how long that lasts, but he is nonetheless gone in first place. David Owens, I mean, he's not going to be going forward. I can tell you that much, Gene. He's going to be only going back. That's the risk you take when you stay out on those old tires and you don't have control of the restart. If you lose control of if your line, this can happen quick. And you just saw how that 11 car on those old tires just refused to turn in 1 and 2 there, and it cost them a lot. And I cannot say enough about Tony Iverson when he was stuck in the middle in that 3 wide situation. I cannot imagine what his onboard looked like there, Gene. You could see that thing wiggling all the way through 1 and 2, and he just was just foot on the floor and somehow kept it straight. Wow, that was exceptional driving from 3 of our best drivers in this league.
Yeah, Owens, Cook, and Iverson right there showing exactly how they do it on a Monday night. Owens, though, he's got older tires, did fall back a little bit. And these are the guys that we were talking about the whole race. Michael Mata, David Cook, Tony Iverson, and now Justin Parham and Buddy Sully. They're about 2.5 seconds back of the leaders. But Parham and Sully were showing that they had the moves to be competitive. And then in that other driver, Jose Medina, he spent most of this race in the back after some really great pit stops. He's up there now on the same tire strategy and on the same fuel strategy, running in 6th place. Behind him, Jax Duvall. Duvall has yet to figure out how to make that car go straight for the long term. So we'll see if Florida man can get that thing together. And congrats to Mason Smalley in that 26. He's up in 8th place. His buddy Austin Merrow in 10th. So those championship points drivers finally making their way up into the top 10. The other guy we're looking at, though, Matt Fritz, still back in 13th. He's going to need to push it here.
So when David Cook was struggling to get through that field and make those passes, he was putting down about 53 twos, 53 threes. Now that David Cook is in clean air pursuing Michael Mata, flip that, Gene. He put down a 52.8 that last time around, and oh my goodness, Michael Mata put down a 53.5. Oh gosh, that's nearly a second difference. It's not going to be long until David Cook, I think, honestly makes easy work of Michael Mata, but there is such insane action going on in this field that who knows if we'll even stay green for that long. And yeah, also to touch on Jose Medina real quick, he is doing an exceptional job, and he's not surprising me at all by doing that. Jose Medina is someone who really seems to shine on these more difficult tracks. Oh, and there it goes. Oh man, and I remember when I told you I was worried about that 11 car?
Oh no.
Let's see if it gets tight here. Let's see if it gets tight here, Mean Gene.
Let's pick your bumper up.
That's
Brandon Guerin.
And then how's it get so much worse? Oh, geez. Uh-oh. Wait, how'd it get... Oh my god. Is that Stinson?
No, I think that was John Beverly.
Does he hate David Owens?
Only on days that end with a Y. Pick your bumper up.
Oh my gosh, John Beverly.
Yeah, Jay Stinson has actually parked it. The 2 Chevrolet is out of the race. I think that was the 01.
I'm gonna assume the 01's gonna be out of the race after this as well.
Yeah, you got that one fast repair. Ooh, that was close.
Can we go on board with Beverly? Like, was it just a matter of...
This isn't Faces of Death. Why do you want that close up? Wow.
Yeah, I guess you're like, maybe we'll get demonetized if we do that, if we're being totally honest.
Well, let's see it anyway.
Yeah,
I know there's guys that don't want it.
Okay, so 4th gear. I'm assuming the caution's out, right? And here we go.
Everything's fine. It's gonna be okay.
Smoke screens, smoke. Oh, okay, okay. That's actually. Yeah, you're gonna have to make that phone call. The onboard honestly seems to always tell a different story, doesn't it, Mean Gene? That engine's gone though. Well, John Beverly, you're a hell of an admin.
That's going to leave a mark. So those top 4 were pulling away. The same 4 we've seen do it repeat. You know who's not going to appreciate that? It's Jose Medina, who was in 6th and made his way through the junk. All those guys that were in the front, Parham, Medina, Hillman, they can't be pleased to see that come out. And that's going to throw out all that gas strategy, because if everybody comes in, gets a pit, maybe puts on the tires that we talked about.
Which they are.
Then all of a sudden, it's just a wide open race to the end. And that's going to play definitely into the hands of those top 4. Right now, Mata, Cook, Iverson, Buddy Sully, those 4 guys are just right at the top of this cup of coffee.
Yeah. So bizarre how these pit boxes look, too. Oh, so definitely some 2-tire pit stops here, Mean Gene. Lots of Cook with 4, but it looks like with Iverson with 2. And I saw someone else there take 2. May have been Duvall.
Iverson and Sully, wow.
Yeah, Sully. Oh, it's Sully. Okay, I knew it was another heavy hitter.
Lots of 2s. Look at that.
Yeah, we got a mixed bag here, don't we? Yeah,
I've seen Cook take 4 tires and cut through 10 cars to win a race this year.
I mean, like, if I'm on the track right now, I'd personally rather be David Cook. If this thing goes green, oh my goodness, have fun with 30 laps on 2 tires.
Yeah. Because it's going to throw off the balance of your car, even if you're not just worried about those being slick. First you got to heat the tires up, so that's 3 laps of foolishness, and then you're going to have another 5 laps of the things just being off balance. So that's 8 laps before you're on equal ground with Cook, and he'll eat you up in those 8 laps. So be interesting to see exactly where those 2 cars of Mata and Cook end up once we roll around this thing.
Yeah, I mean, and Mata didn't really have a choice. I mean, because he stayed out in that previous one. Those tires were, compared to everyone else, ancient. So he couldn't take 2, right? Those left sides would have been just... I mean, I probably would risk making it to the end of the race. It would be so ancient if we stayed green. So Mata, not with much of a choice. Iverson, again, I understand. I feel like between Mata and Iverson, it's been such a struggle for power and for control in this race. They don't want to be behind the other person. Mata pitting again, Mean Gene, along with Parham.
He's just going to make sure that way he can. There's a few coming down with him. They just want to make sure they can ride this thing wide open, right? I mean, hell, if you're back in 14th place, why not get another splash so you don't have to play the drafting game?
Yeah, we got, 30 to go now, so you think they'd be good. But what it also does is if we do get a late race caution to where, everyone's going to want 4, that's a tiny bit less fuel that you need to take.
Yeah, and so clean air will hold off cold tires for a couple of laps.
100%.
We've seen that all night.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it. I mean, PRL had Emerald had a question. We went to Bristol, so I guess we don't have to talk about how the race went. We went to Bristol, and Jax Duvall got that W by having tons of speed, but also just by staying out and controlling really just the vibe of the race, like when you know how many cautions there are going to be, and when you know how important dirty air is. And Jack Stovall was a master of that and got a well-deserved win by running, I think it was like 130 laps without pitting, Mean Gene. So you're right.
All right, so it looks like David Cook's going to rotate around into 11th place right now. So that is the car we're looking at that has the freshest tires. That's the closest to the front. Tony Iverson, Buddy Sully, front row. Those guys have been so fast. This restart's going to be everything to see which of them can get into the clean air, because right behind them, Alex Hillman has shown that he is willing to get aggressive, not overly aggressive, not wreck somebody, but he'll cut the air out. He'll side draft with you, and that could open the door for somebody else. Mason Smalley's still up there in 5th too, so really good to see that 26 car making the best out of the second half of this race.
David Cook, Mean Gene, is the only car on 4 tires. The cars behind him were just far enough behind him to where that 9-second delta was enough. He is the only car in the field with 4 tires besides Mata. Well,
all right, here
4 seconds.
Here we go. We're coming into the restart zone. Tony Iverson on the inside. He goes green. He gets a heck of a good jump. So fast, in fact, that he's going to pull Duvall with him. Duvall and Buddy Sully side by side. That's for second. 904 of Hillman. That is back in 4th. And then Smalley and Medina side by side. Smalley going to get the advantage. 21 and 84 of Duvall still side by side for second. And that's going to let Tony Iverson start to check it in and maybe check it out.
I don't know how Hillman got that track position, but good for him. I mean, he can definitely maintain it, but everyone taking 2, I have no idea how Hillman did that, but look at him helping out his DDI teammate on the outside there. This is going to be an intense 3 and 4, Mean Gene. Oh, boy.
And right there, Fritz has got to push this thing right now. Matthew Fritz has that opportunity. He's under Medina. He let Medina get by with it last time. He can't do it again. He's got to stick the nose in, and he does. Heck of a good move by Fritz on Medina, and now he can focus on Bolander right in front of him, and then the side-by-side of Smalley and Hillman. Fritz has got to get there. He's got to break away from Medina and make this move. David Cook behind him on fresher tires, though.
Look at that run. Look at that run by David Cook. Look at that differential already.
And look at Mata come into the picture as well. Mata on, oh, wow, amazing run right now. So we're seeing Mata and Cook. They're on those fresher tires. So we'll see what they can make out of it. And then we go back to David Owens, who's made his way up into 13. Medina getting split open like a loaf of bread. And look at Fritz finally.
Oh my gosh, there's a car. There's a car flipping in the back. Someone is dead. It was a Motto. That was brutal. Is the yellow out? How is that possible? Okay, well, the yellow's not out, ladies and gentlemen. Car is upside down. Okay, anyway, moving on. That was insane. But yeah, jeez. Yeah, sorry to cut you off. I thought
worries.
Surely we're going to yellow.
I'm over here I was just fanboying on Fritz as I finally saw him put the bumper to somebody to tell them to get the hell out of his way.
Loved it.
Oh, and look at the speed of Mata down on that bottom inside, and Owens right behind him. So I think we're going to start to see these cars on 4 tires really eat them up. The leader of those 4 cars is David Cook, who's made his way up into 6th place. But Tony Iverson, your race leader, 0.3 of a second lead of Sully before it drops back into Duvall, Hillman, Smalley. So that's really what we're focusing on, is how quick can that 71 get through these last 2 cars, find that clean air.
Yep, and let's take a look at the Amato crash. That this did not justify a yellow, and I can tell you people that this will be probably the most shocking non-yellow ever. Just a little bit too deep there into Garen, and jeez, no debris on the track whatsoever. These next gens, they're impressive, and honestly, what a gentleman for towing. He'd seen enough. But you know what I love about these 4 tires, Mean Gene, and why I think David Cook is going to win this race if we stay green. First of all, you have Mata also on 4 tires, and I apologize, I was wrong about that. It is Mata also has them. My data was a little bit wrong because he did that extra pit stop, which honestly, what I'm watching, I wouldn't have done if I was Mata. I would have rather just been behind Cook and not given up that extra time, whether or not it was for fuel. But why I love what Cook's doing, and you're going to see it right here. Watch how Cook can make passes here. We've talked all day. It's so hard to make passes here, and why is it so hard? Because on the inside, once you're on older tires, you can't drive out of the corner with any meaningful speed when someone's on your outside, because all they have to do is stick to your outside, and you can't really get a runoff. However, when you're on 4 freshies and everyone else is on 2 or 0, yeah, you can. They can't hug you. They can't squeeze you on corner exit, so you can just drift up at the same rate they are and make easy passes at a track where everyone else is struggling to pass. So that's why I really, man, if I'm Duvall, Solly, or Iverson, I am terrified of that 71 right now.
Well, we'll keep an eye on him. He was at 3.5 seconds when he made that pass. Right now, he's fluctuating between 3.1 and 3.4 seconds behind your leader, Tony Iverson. So we'll just monitor what he can do now that he's into that cleaner air. About 0.8 of a second between him and Duvall, and then absolute land of unbridled optimism right ahead of there. So Cook, you can see he is pulling away from that 26 of Smalley. Andrew Bolander behind him, Bobby Dodson, Hillman, and then Fritz. Still in the picture right behind them, Medina, and then we can see the 16 of Mata. Mata not having quite the success that Cook is having. Neither is David Owens, as those two cars find themselves in 11th and 14th respectively. I think Owens definitely had to use that fast repair, so he should be on 100% right now, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I was about to say that that car should be 1,000% healthy. I mean, we know how good Mata and Owens are, so it definitely goes to show and says more about just how good that 71 car is and how easy it is for him to work through the field. And you're right, now that he's in a little bit more clean air, he's not really working through the field anymore. He can just make some one at a time passes. We got to keep a close eye on those lap times and a close eye on that gap. I will say the last lap already, he's already about as fast as them, but I'm really looking for this next one as they get ready to cross the line. I'm thinking he should be at least 2 to 3 tenths faster.
Matthew Fritz a little bit further back finally made his way around Bobby Dodson. He's got Hillman in front of him. That's another guy I'm looking at.
Oh,
spinning.
before he goes around. Oh, and we're still green. I mean, gee, what the heck? Right in front of the flyman. Is he asleep?
Well, it's Indianapolis, so he's not on drugs, because I think they drug test everybody there.
Yeah.
So that might be a purposeful decision. I mean, the MRL is known to call those cautions when you're off speed, but these tracks are so large and those guys are running in the back, no danger of any car coming up and hitting them. So as long as they keep that thing rolling, they're just going to keep it going.
Yeah, and all our race control is on the track. They don't care about that. And I do wonder, even Mean Gene, like, who even in the field wants a caution and doesn't want one? I'd assume Cook probably wants one to close that gap and make it easier. But then that might offset the whole pit thing, and like I assume everyone will just take 4 tires again. So I think everyone probably just wants to race this thing out. So we should be happy about the lack of cautions. But oh my goodness, yeah! Did you see Hillman right there?
That was a little bit scary. And look at that, Fritz going to take advantage right there into the inside. We saw Hillman hiccup earlier, let 3 cars go by. Little hiccup right there. That one not his fault, Colin Bolander. And then that 26 of Smalley. So really close call, 904, pulling off some really slick maneuvers to keep it rolling. Let's see how hard these guys continue to race. Up front, though, these two guys, your leaders, Iverson and Sully. Buddy Sully, he was part-time at the beginning. He finished with just enough races to make it into the playoffs. 1 win later, he's at the top of the playoffs. Tony Iverson had a little bit of umbrage for that, but right now nothing stands between Iverson and the win except for that 21 car. Going to be really fascinating to see how these last 19 laps unfold. Oh, look at Medina come in like a rocket.
You and I are watching the state part of the track, Mean Gene, because it is
We're watching
mayhem back here. Yeah, we really are, and I also like what you pointed about Hillman's little episode or moment there. That wasn't on Hillman. It wasn't on Bollinger either, but it was another example of just different strategies on corner entry. Bollinger really checking up on entry, and Hillman definitely one that, as you can see right there, just really attacking the entry, really setting in, while Bollinger likes to back it up and then really focus on the exit. You see more of that in 1 and 3 versus 2 and 4. Really, because I think you can kind of vary it more in that turn, because you don't have to worry about the straightaway as much, right? Whereas in a 2 and 4, you really have to care about that front and back stretch, and everyone's pretty much backing up that corner. But into that one that goes in that small straightaway afterwards, a lot of people with different approaches to that corner, and it makes sense. And again, I'm surprised it hasn't caused more incidents, but that was a close one there. And it's also, interesting here with Iverson and Sully, because, geez, I mean, Gene, how annoyingly good is Buddy Sully? Like, this dude is just really showed a ton of speed in the regular season, but Some self-inflicted mistakes and some bad luck, not giving him the results that I think that we would have seen otherwise. And since then, oh my goodness, this dude is scary.
Yeah, he's been running really strong. How about right there, Michael Mata trying to put that move on the 904 of Hillman, not quite successful. You know, we're talking about different entrance speeds, and something that you and I were talking about before the race is downshifting. You know, the ability to downshift between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Some cars doing it, some cars don't. So if I do downshift, can I come in faster and then use my brakes in that downshift to kind of make a controlled entry coming out of those other, coming out of 2 and 4?
It's actually a lot about it's a lot. Hillman in the wall, able to keep it together, but yep, it's going to cost them and his teammate to the bottom of them. You're going to see more of that as this lap goes on. I doubt anyone wants to pit again. But about shifting here, I think it's a lot like, I think this was the track, me and Gene, Nashville with Soli is a great example. I think that was where we saw him going super, super early into...
gets into it.
11 in the wall hard, Owens in the wall hard again. And that's
Hillman.
And that's going to be a broken toe link. And as we discussed not long ago, that thing does not have a fast repair. That's going to be it for one of our heavy... Oh! David. Yellow's out. Oh. Kevin, can we get like 30 to 40 replays of that, please? Like, let's just give all the analysis on this by Owens. All right, so Owens underneath Hillman there. I don't super. I mean, I'm a bad person. Hillman, full transparency. Hillman drives for the team I own. Don't love.
And then here we go. Watch this
Hillman,
move.
and off we go. That right there will get you the most wins in Emerald history. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Gene, what's your like? Did Hillman come down there? Was that a?
No, that looked like a racing incident. Let's go back and see the moment of contact.
Can we get like the right behind view, the far chase?
Yeah, give us the chase. Let's see. Owens still stay low. Owens is low. Owens is on the apron. He drifts up. And I just don't know where Hillman was supposed to go.
You're right. I mean, and Hillman, I'm not seeing Hillman go left. I'm not seeing him. He's just running a very predictable line, right?
He's definitely squeezing Owens. He ain't giving him no space. You know, he didn't go up. But how much further could he have gone up at that point?
Yep.
And for Owens, he's out there working on older tires at this point. You know, they put some 15 laps on these tires, so he might be plowing a little bit.
Here we go. Here we go. Oh, yeah.
And then this is the move of the race right there.
Get some Tokyo Drift music going.
This is the best I can do.
But
and then and then the red car came by and said, because he did not appreciate that.
That's a new. I like that one, Mean Gene.
Oh my word! What a crazy turn of events, Zach.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be huge for that. And before you move on, I will say Owens would be the first to tell you like that squeeze was good from Hillman. That was good racing. No way Owens is upset about that. Yeah, just sucks. But yeah, this is gonna be crazy. Who's gonna take 4? Who's gonna take 2? I mean, Mean Gene, I'm gonna be wrong as I always am. Cook doesn't pit at all, and he's not even trying to be nonchalant about it. He's just like, nah, I'm good.
He says clean air and Cook's lane equals dub.
Parham stays out and Medina stays out. And so does Hillman. So Team DDI says, "Oh my gosh, you crazy boys! What have I instilled into these guys? I blame myself for that. Literally, they've seen me do it too many times, me and Gene, and they're like, "Oh, I can do it." There's a reason I don't run against these guys. Anyway,
look at that. And Hillman was getting a little wiggly with that car staying out there. We got a close eye. You can see Iverson there in the front. Let's see exactly what he decides to do.
Jack Smith is a stall there, so he might lose a spot or 2 there. So yeah, we're looking for 2 or 4 here. That's 2, and this. I mean, it should be 4. It's 2 for Mata, 2 for Mata. It's gonna be 4 for Iverson, and Iverson's gonna maintain his position outside of Mata. And just like how I liked Cook's situation in that last run of Mean Gene, I like Iverson's situation now.
Absolutely, I think that Cook had the move. when we were under before that last caution. But that last caution, you can't blame Cook. He already laid his cards on the table. He took his extra set of tires, everything. He laid all his cards down. He's out there with 3 aces, and now he's just hoping that he doesn't see that royal flush come out of the hand of Tony Iverson.
Oh yeah, and I can guarantee you also, Mean Gene, if David Cook doesn't pit there, I'll tell you right now I'm sorry, if he does pit there, I can tell you right now who doesn't. Michael Mata. Cook and Mata have made it just so clear this whole race. I just don't want to pass Tony Iverson. I just want the lead, and I'll handle it from there.
Mm-hmm. And Iverson, he's a clean driver, but he is tough to get by because he knows the tricks. He knows how to get in front of you and use that air. He's not going to make contact with your car, but he definitely can cut that air right out from under you. And these other drivers as well, we've seen some really nasty side drafting. No contact between the cars, but it just sucks you right back into that pack.
Yeah, and I mean, like, and what's so important about air blocking, especially a track like this, and you're right. I mean, like, Tony Iverson, a very, very clean driver, but a master of the fair tricks that you're allowed to use to put your opponents at a disadvantage. And man, at a track like this, we've seen it all day. Mean Gene, if you dump the right amount of air on your opponent behind you and you force them to get tight and slap that wall, not only does that hurt their lap time, obviously, they could get past because of that, because it kills momentum so bad, and it takes laps to recover from that. It doesn't take a turn or two. It takes 2 to 3, what I've seen, the least laps to recover from that, whether or not you're on a tire advantage. So I like that move by Cook. I can't say I wouldn't do the same thing Cook did. The one guy I probably wouldn't do what he did is Michael Mata, but at the same time, Mata has already done 2 tires today. He knows what to expect, so I do like that as well.
Yeah, right now Mata 9.3 seconds in 5th place. So you got to figure if he can just get by Hillman, he'll be right into the thick of things. Yeah. Tony Iverson really close up there. Jonathan K. Sabir, good to see him recover from his earlier foolishness. We'll see if that car can get up to speed and maintain the pace with the others. Buddy Sully also stuck up in there in 9th. Going to be really interesting to see exactly how this restart goes. A restart can make or break, especially as we're coming down into the last 12, 13 laps. Pace car lights are off, so we will be expecting that pace car to get out of the way. I can think of a race we just saw at Phoenix in the Cup Series where that restart made all the difference in the world. Mm-hmm. We watched a guy close a 10-second lead in 20 laps, but just could not make that final pass on his teammate. Whereas here, these guys are not teammates. And, there's nothing that says you can't make a light tap to get through. Ask Sean Walton. He'll tell you all about it.
Mean Gene, and with these different tire situations, I'll buy you a stupid Joey Logano championship shirt if we don't have another restart.
Well, for the record, you said his name before I did, so just going to go there. Okay, here we go. Pace car out of the way. We're getting ready to go green here. The 71 is your control car. He's on the inside. Parham, he's run strong all day on the outside. Jose Medina, big tap on Cook. Gives Cook a huge jump. Medina goes with him. That's going to put Parham and Medina side by side. Smalley and the 904 Hillman behind him. Mata and Iverson. These guys are backed up tight behind them. Cook with that great run. And look at Medina in that 54 in 2nd place with that California driver. This is about as fast as I've seen him all year.
Yeah, you'd swear that Medina and Cook were on comms together with how well that restart went. That was perfect with that bump that Medina gave him and gave Cook the gap he needs. And now it's a matter of Iverson and Mata. How patient can they be? How long will this take them? And how big can Cook make that gap? Wow, look at Parham already not really able to make the corner. Mean Gene, this is already me sketchy. Oh my goodness, and they're already, there goes Smalley into the bottom, into the wall on the inside corner. Everyone else able to make it through, no caution yet. Everyone still facing the right way. Parham into the wall. Everyone, here comes Sully and Mata to their inside. These old tire cars are just not turning.
No, Mata trying to push Buddy Sully, trying to make him go faster. You don't want to cause an incident with a car that has been fast all day. You'd love to just follow him. Right now, you can see that 13, that 21, and that 16 all together. That's 4th, 5th, and 6th, but they got to get past the Colonel, Jack Sanders, and see if they can start to make that run. Sanders into the wall. That's going to let Iverson go by. Sully and Mata. Mata needs to let Sully get down, and then those 3 cars can continue to draft and try to close that gap, maybe get into Medina. So right now, Cook with that huge lead. Jose Medina, a little lead after that. Sanders Sanders finally gets out of the way, and that's going to let Mata and Sully go side by side. They're not going to draft. Instead, they go side by side. In and in the back. Yeah, it looks like Parham finally making his way. That was kind of a bumper car start for Parham, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you can still tell all the cars that stayed out are just in a world of misery right now. And look how quick Iverson got to Medina. Iverson's making quick work of this whole field. Watch out for that 13, just like we predicted. An awesome restart from Medina. Definitely, besides the leader, the one to get out of there the best. But I mean, this is a smart move.
Bobby Dodson, he makes contact with Hillman. That sends him down the apron into the interior wall. No caution yet. Fritz takes opportunity to get by those two guys. We're still racing strong, but that definitely going to cost Bobby Dodson after he made contact with that 904 of Hillman. Ouch, ouch, and double ouch.
I believe it was Guerin made contact with the outside wall as well around that same time. Mean Gene, just a lot going on back there. Like we said, I'd be surprised if this is our only restart, but so far so good. You might be getting yourself a Joey Logano shirt, but man, these 4-tire cars, they are coming fast to David Cook. This is going to be fascinating to see what Cook wants to do here. He has no incentive but to defend with everything he has, right?
Oh, he needs that win. The win is the only way you're going to carry over those playoff points. You get the win, and you're going to get those 3 points. Iverson and gang ate up Buddy Sully, or ate up Medina. So Iverson and Sully got by Medina, and they are still tracking him down. Now Mata gets by Medina. Medina knows that maybe a top 5 is about as good as it's going to get on those old tires, and he lets those 3 faster cars just zip on by. Lap car of 26, Mason Smalley also in that picture, but he goes high to avoid being part of that problem. Parham and then Matthew Fritz also in the midst, so going to see exactly if they can eat up that 54 of Medina, as he seems to be going the wrong way right now. Up front, though, Cook and Iverson, and that 2.2 second lead is now 1.2 seconds, Zach.
Yeah, it is, and I'm looking at the lap differences. We got a half a second difference between Iverson and Cook. Obviously going towards Iverson with that tire advantage. It's only a matter of time now. I understand why David Cook did what he did. He only has to hold on for 8 more, but at a track this big and this fast and this flat, good luck with that, buddy. But nonetheless, if we do stay green here somehow, because oh my goodness, it's so crazy from like 6th back. This will still be a good point stay for Cook, but I can't see a world where he's able to hold off that 13 of Iverson. And Iverson also, Mean Gene, he has to make quick work of David Cook. He cannot allow Buddy Sully to get close to him. They're in the same tire situation. That would be ugly.
Yeah, Buddy Sully's so quick himself. A little bit further back, though, looking at 5th place, that is going to be Parham, Fritz. Medina has regained control of his car, but Parham and Fritz really battling a couple of playoff drivers. Fritz is in this thing for those points, as is Parham. Parham a little bit closer to the bottom. He cannot afford to be caught down there. Justin Parham currently in 11th place. Oh, and Fritz gets by Parham.
Wow.
Parham almost loses position to Medina. And that's what I've wanted out of Fritz, though. This guy is turned it on. The beginning of the race, I thought he was a little bit cautious, and maybe his radio man heard me down there and told him, hey, buddy, now is the time. And suddenly, Matthew Fritz, who was spending the beginning of this race in 12th through 15th, finds himself in 6th place, or 5th place now, as we are coming to the end of stages of this race.
I'm going to pick on Fritz even more, Mean Gene, because he is lucky he's so talented, because he gave Parham all the room in the world on corner entry, and he just somehow entered crazy low, like the fake line we were making fun of on the cool-down laps during qualifying. Fritz just somehow made that work. I don't know how he did that, but good for him.
Speaking up, remember that 1.2 to 2.2, then 1.2 second lap? Now it's 0.2. Now it's 0.002. Look at Sully. And Sully creeping in. And there's Michael Mata. The same 4 guys we've been talking about all day, and they're all in the same camera frame. Looky. Here
and Tony Iverson's not going to wait. Tony Iverson's not going to wait. He did a great job. Even used a little bit of Neko, but look at this run that Sully has. Sully can make the most aggressive move of the race here. He's locked into the next round. I'd be surprised if he does, and he's not going to be back to the corner.
Let's see. This is where he downshifts and powers through. And Cook, right there, though, there's going to be a little bit of dirty air. That's going to cost Sully. Until now, then he downshifts. Oh, Sully way off right there.
Watch us run by Sully, though. Watch us run by Sully, I think. Oh, no, he just missed that corner in the air. Oh, wow. Mata with a nice little push to the back. But, yeah, I was wrong there, Mean Gene. I thought he was backing up to get an enormous run. He just missed that corner. David Cook did a great job of messing up his angle.
Yeah, that dirty air, just so effective right there. Cook taking a page out of Iverson's book. Iverson, though, now into the lead where he is accustomed to being. Last year, Iverson led the most laps here at Indianapolis, and he was a victim of some gas strategy foolishness. But fool me once, won't be fooled again. Tony Iverson, the gentleman, the dominator right now with 5 laps to go. He is in the lead, pulling away from the older tires of Cook. Meanwhile, Cook trying to hold off the charge of Mata and Sully on those fresher. Mata's on those fresher tires. Sully, not 14.3, not so much, huh?
Sully should be on. Yeah, actually not quite as great, but. And there goes as they lap David Owens. I cannot believe that David Owens' 11 car even has enough speed to be out here, but good for him getting those points. That's just how important the playoffs are. As here goes Mata to the inside of Cook. He's going to want to get it done this time if he's going to have any. Oh, and they almost make they do make contact. Not too bad. I mean, these 4 have raced each other so well all season, but this is the nitty gritty here.
Back down at him.
Oh my goodness, rubbing and grinding. Wow, this is intense. Let's see if the 16 of Mata gives me that side draft here, and what does Sully want to do?
Sully picks. Sully's going to decide who wins this battle.
And then Iverson missed that corner, and Owens was able to get to Iverson and gave him a boop. Owens just in here. I mean, what can he do, right? Oh, this is crazy.
Oh, taps the wall right there. Cook let off, let Mata go by. He might live to regret that one a little bit later. Mata on the outside. The faster cars are now finally on the outside. David Cook does give that position up to Mata. Let's see what he does. Owens does with Cook going below. Boy, this is some exciting racing when you got cars going above and below. Buddy Sully, a veteran. Here we go. Finally, Owens gets in the clear. Gonna let those top cars go right on by. After them, it is four full seconds behind those top 4 cars
Cook
until you run into the 5th place. Oh, and so is Sully.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God. How did Cook do that?
How is he still loose?
How did Cook not spin that car around? He is so insane, Mean Gene. That was ridiculous. Owens with a nice little boop to help out Sully and just said, guys, just get away from me, please. That was insane.
Stuff. Wow. And that puts Sully back into 3rd. So Iverson, he's got a 1-second lead. Michael Mata in 2nd, 3 laps to go. Buddy Sully now, he's trying to just get a little bit closer. Remember, all 4 of these guys really pretty safe going in. Michael Mata was the one we were worried about. But after this performance, I think he'll be a lot closer to getting through to the next round. Iverson could get that Willy Wonka golden ticket. Buddy Sully, he's in a checker or wrecker situation. So I imagine he's going to push Mata about as fast as you can.
Yeah, it's tough with the 21 because he's so nice. We all know Buddy Sully. He's like legit the salt of the earth, one of the nicest human beings to ever meet. If it was anyone else, it would be such a checkers or wrecker situation. I'd be horrified at that 21 car. But Sully being such a gentleman and such a class act, I mean, he showed it already. He would have done it by now, right? He's had multiple opportunities to take them 3 wide. He hasn't taken any of them. I think just because he doesn't want to ruin anyone's playoff drive. These races aren't regular season races, right? I think in the regular season you do take those chances, but in the playoffs, a lot of these guys are points racing. And like you just said about Mata, I think this is all Mata needs to do too. As much as Mata would love to go out and get this win right now, and I'm sure he's pushing as hard as he can, a 2nd place finish would be huge for him as we only have 1 race left in the round after this.
Yeah, these guys definitely don't, because that next race, you're going to be at a wide open super speedway at Talladega, and there's no promises there. Anybody could win or lose in one little contact. A little bit further back, though, we can see Parham, Duval, Bobby Dodson, those 3 cars very close to each other. That is your 8th, 9th, and 10th battle. That is where an incident could occur. As Florida man, he is not shy, and he just sticks his nose right in there in that battle for position. Those are playoff drivers, and then Bobby Dodson in there as well. Look at Medina. He's not done for the day. Still challenging on Austin Marrow, and Medina goes in hard. See if he can hold it, pushes that car up a little bit, and that's going to let that 28 of Austin Marrow slide right through. So some really good racing as we look back into the field at that 9, 10, 11, 12, as these guys are trying to fight for those points. These points are so important. Drivers separated by 1 and 2 points.
There goes Sully to the bottom, and yeah, those psychopaths almost give us overtime. Those guys doing everything they can to give us overtime, but it doesn't look like we're going to get it. That is the white flag. And Tony Iverson, how often this season, Mean Gene, has Tony Iverson had far and away the fastest car, put down a qualifying lap like he did today, and had something happen to cost him the win? Today, he couldn't be denied. He only has 2 sets of corners, but what I'm looking at is what you're looking at. Oh, man, the battle for 2nd place. Will Sully go for it? And nope, he's going to back up the corner. I mean, what did I say about Buddy Sully? Just a class act as Tony Iverson will round the last corner.
Wow, what a day for Tony Iverson. We saw him lead the most laps last year. This year, I'm not sure if he led the most, but he sure led a lot. Tony Iverson, the pilot of the number 13 Toyota, coming around that last stretch. And it is going to be his day. Victory for Tony Iverson here today. Race 2 in our playoffs. What a day, Tony Iverson. Michael Mata going to come in second. Let's see if he gives Iverson the little tap. Of course he does. Let's know, hey, buddy, I love you, but I sure wish I could have wrecked you. Third place going to be Buddy Sully. And David Cook ends up making those tires last. Let's see who Cook wants to give a little bumpy bump to. Oh, he gives a little bitty love to Mata, and he's going to come up, and he's going to just give the number 1 finger to the 13, Tony Iverson. Let's make some imaginary drama where none exists. And then, hey, there's the 48 right there. Great day by Fritz as well, as he's going to be 5. So that's your top 5. Iverson, Mata, Sully, Cook, Fritz, Olander 6, Case of Beer 7, Duval 8, Bobby Dodson 9, Austin Marrow 10, and Jose Medina looked so good at the beginning, all the way up to second there on that last restart. He's going to finish in 11. Those tires were rough, Zach.
Yeah, they were rough unless you had that clean air that Cook got for so long to be able to control his pace a little bit. But yeah, when you're at the mercy of dirty air with old tires, that's kind of what it can do to you. I mean, we saw far worse things happen than to other cars with that similar strategy than what happened to Medina. So good job by him to even get it across the finish line. But yeah, you're right, and I love the butt boops we saw at the end there, especially between the big three. The amount of respect between these guys in the field, for those watching that enjoy these broadcasts that don't get to see what happens in the internal Discord, the amount of respect that the top guys in this league have for each other and the way they talk to each other after races, it's truly awesome and inspiring to see. And you see it on track, right, with the clean racing, but then you also see afterwards with them I don't want to say no one's happy to lose to anyone, right? I mean, Gene, but being okay with getting beat to someone as good as who they know they just raced against, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially these guys, a lot of the faster guys communicate with each other constantly. They always have that open line of communication for all the drivers. But you can see fellas that aren't even on the same team are talking to each other during the race. And so you just know that they're trying to work those faster lines. So you don't mind, especially if you knew the guy was faster than you. Buddy Sully, such a fast drive there at the end. Could he have pushed things and maybe got second place? Sure. But what does he do? He probably takes out his buddy Mata, who's in second place, and then it ruins everybody's day. And who knows who else gets caught up in that? Just not something that a classy guy like that wants to do. Speaking of, let's go ahead and pull some of these drivers in. We've been talking about him a little bit just now. The 21 Ford driver, Buddy Sully. Hey, buddy, you got your ears on?
Yeah, go ahead.
There he is, number 21. You're up on that podium again, my friend. I thought you said you didn't like this track.
It's an all right track. It's just not one of my favorites.
Is it a little better now?
Yeah, a little bit better. Usually I have some bad luck here.
Well, it was really interesting. You know, something that we were talking about this entire time is how difficult that it was to pass. So much of the passing was being done in the pits, but yet there at the end, you did not start in third, but managed to pilot your way through. Take us through that last part. What was the most harrowing moment that you had after that last restart?
Oh, man. I don't remember who it was in front of me. I think it was, I don't even remember if it was the last restart or not, but there was some 3 wide going on in front of me with Owens and Tony and Cook, I think it was.
Yes, it was.
That was pretty,
Nailed it.
That was pretty nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I was thinking, if there's a wreck there, where are you going to go?
That's exactly what I was thinking, too. I had no escape.
Well, really exciting to see, buddy. Last week with the win, you punch your way into the championship. We were thinking you were in a checker or wrecker situation today, but showing that patience, not pushing a hole through Michael Mata. Buddy Sully finishes in third. Great points, guaranteed to go into that next round, going into Talladega next week. How do you like that track, Talladega?
It's a wild card. Anything can happen.
Well, hopefully everybody will keep it on the straight and narrow. That's Buddy Sully, the 21 Ford driver. Anybody want to give a shout out to, buddy?
Yeah, Michael and David and Tony and all those guys. It was an absolute blast racing with you guys, and not having to worry about getting wrecked or anything. So it was fun racing close tonight.
It got a little harrowing, especially that last restart. A lot of guys on 2 tires. I mean, heck, some guys, David Cook, didn't even take any tires. So very exciting racing out there, buddy. And you held it to the end, 3rd place, already into that 2nd round. Can't wait to see what you do next weekend at Talladega. Thank you, buddy.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, shout out Buddy Solly. Shout out for him again for helping us on this new interface with our broadcast and doing so much for us. He's awesome. Also, personally, thank you, Buddy, for helping with my paint scheme. As you see with his beautiful black and gold there, he helped me finally get that chrome right. And also, me and Gene, I love you, buddy, but I hate so much when people as good as him are like, I don't like this track, and then they come and then are that good here. Like, gosh,
He
buddy,
likes it a little more now, though. You know, just a little bit more.
just admit that you're amazing. Anyway, Michael Mata, our 2nd place finisher. We got you there?
Hey.
What's going on, man? Great job today. You were a blast to watch all day, like you always are when you're running out front. As always, I'm always just curious if my assumptions during the race were correct. It seemed to me like you, not just you, and no one could pass out there, it looked like. So it was going to be nearly impossible to pass the 13. So was your goal the race kind of to get control and maintain control, whether it be on the pits or strategy?
Yeah, that's why I went off strategy there. I took the lead, didn't take tires, and they held on pretty good. And then I knew they fell off about 7 laps in. So I knew on this restart, Cook was going to fall off fast. Like, he'd get the lead and he'd fall off. But I think I was one of the only ones who took 2 there. A lot of the guys took 4, so surprised I held on that good.
Yeah, it was a mixed bag there for sure. I think more took 2 than you believe, but it was also definitely a mixed bag. You had guys like Iverson on 4. We thought you had 2, so that's insane that you were that fast on, or we thought you had 4, so that's crazy you're that fast on 2. Can you talk to me about what the mentality was like when you had to kind of work through the field, when you know you had a race winning car, but because of strategy or something, you had to work down from like 14th up?
I did notice a lot of guys were over driving entry. And I knew if I got my left sides under the white line, which a lot of guys weren't doing, it's the IndyCar line. It's how you qualify for the Indy 500 on here. So I just used that line where you just put your left sides under the white line, and it gave me clean air. It was they made it pretty easy for me.
Yeah, I get it. We talked a ton about air today, and it looks like at these fast, flat tracks that air just reigns supreme. So didn't look like a blast to deal with that. Before we let you get out of here, you've done a great job in these first 2 races of the playoffs. You were someone that we were super, super eager to see in the playoffs with all the speed that you showed in the regular season. So now going into a truck like Talladega, how do you approach that with your points buffer? And I mean, you know, obviously not having as much control as you do to a truck like today.
I'll be running 2nd or 3rd on the bottom line. That's my plan.
Hey, I said that at the time. I go to the bottom and I refuse to leave, and normally that's where you end up, and that's a great place to be. Well, thank you so much, Michael. Great job today. Anyone you want to give a shout out to?
I have to shout out all those guys who were running top 5 tonight when we pulled away that front 4. That was fun. Trying to catch them and then dealing with dirty air. That's some of the most fun I've had, not only in this league, but just here on iRacing. So shout out to those guys. Shout out to K-Spear, Dodson, those guys, and you guys. Thanks for the broadcast.
Hey, thank you, man. And yeah, we're calling you guys the Big 4 because, man, you guys put in a show. Great job.
Yeah, heck of a run by Michael Mata. After that finish, he actually pushes himself up to 6th in the points, and he has an 18-point lead over the 9th place driver of Bobby Dodson going into Talladega, and those points are going to be ever so important. Speaking of points, let's see. There was a guy who took the pole, led the most laps, had the fastest lap, led a lap, won the race. I think you know who I'm talking about. That's the number 13 of Tony Iverson. Tony, you got your ears on. Woo! I'll tell you what, man. Last week we talked about the domination of Buddy Sully, but this week it is the domination of Tony Iverson. This one has to feel really sweet after what happened to you last year at Indy.
Yeah, I lost on a strategy call last year, and I thought Cook was going to do it to me again. That son of a. He had, when he alternated strategies, I was like, oh man, here we go. Same with Mata. I was like, wow, because I had seen that they had speed, and I was like, well, I guess we'll see how this shakes out. But honestly, like, I wasn't even thinking about that race during this one, I was thinking about Pocono. The tracks I drive them with a similar approach, and Pocono, I felt like I let get away from me because I kept sliding my car through the pit box, and it just was eating at me. And I had this one circled to try to redeem that. And yeah, I'm definitely glad it went the way it went.
Oh, I tell you what, it went about as good as it can get, Tony. You came into this thing second place, 4 points back of Buddy Sully, and you're going to leave this thing 13 points ahead of him. Of course, it is an elimination situation. You're guaranteed to go to that next round, but next week, Talladega, you've advanced to the next round. You're safe. Are you still going to go for that dub next week? Do you like those super speedways?
Not really.
Are you gonna pull a Buddy Sully and tell me how much you hate it, and then come up on that podium?
You know what it is with those tracks. I hate like the first 95% of the race, and then I love the last 5%. So
Facts.
So I feel like we'll just see how it goes. I'm excited to see who's gonna join us in the top 8 or round of 8 after next week, and yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to end up trying to kind of emulate what Mata had said earlier. I really do prefer to kind of be second or third in line, kind of dicing a little bit, seeing who's going to let me push them the right way and everything like that. So hopefully when you go there, you just hope to not get caught in the big one and see what happens.
Yeah, that is the fun part of those big tracks. Fun for us, the fans, not so much fun for you guys, the drivers. You talk about who's going to advance. There are a few guys. There's a slight gap between 8th and 9th, so you're really going to see a few guys on that hot seat as we're going to go into that third race of this 3-race elimination. 7 races to get to that championship. Right now, Tony Iverson, he is guaranteed a spot in the second round, and he is the winner of that Willy Wonka golden ticket. Tony, anybody you want to give a little shout out to before we go?
Oh yeah, want to shout out Buddy, and then David Owens, and then I also want to shout out Mata and Cook for the way that we were racing. That was fun as hell. And then obligatory shout out to the broadcast. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, of MAU. Thank you.
The shout out to the league as well, and my wife. She lets me come out here and deal with this, and ask me how I did. She supports it a lot, and I definitely appreciate that. But
hey, that's the MVP of Gasoline Alley right now, down there giving that support. You can't do this without your family and your friends. So got to really appreciate when you got a spouse that sponsors you like that, Tony.
Most definitely.
Yeah, amazing win. The number 13, Tony Iverson, punches his ticket to the second round, and he is your winner here at Indianapolis. Thank you, Tony. You have a great night, man. You earned it.
Yeah, thanks, guys. You too.
Congrats,
wow.
Tony.
What an incredible race. I mean, it was close. There was a lot of fighting. But if you look at the stats afterwards, Zach, it was pretty much a dominating performance by Iverson as he was fastest, led the most laps, took the pole, and took the dub.
Yeah, I feel like if Iverson had not gotten this one done, it would have felt just like the other ones earlier in this regular season where he was like, oh my goodness, I had the car and how did it slip away? So honestly, awesome to see him get it done, especially in the playoffs where it really, really counts. These playoffs, it was such a, I want to say like, not a battle, but it was so interesting to see if we were going to get, whether it be through participation or just the parity, the top guys in these playoffs. And now that we're here, the cream has just risen, excuse me, absolutely to the top. And it's been just so awesome to see. And it's just so unpredictable in terms of who is going to win this championship and even who's going to go to the round of 8, especially with the absolute mayhem, no pun intended, that we have coming next week.
Oh, I tell you what, somebody you got to keep an eye on has got to be David Owens. Really unfortunate today. Got caught up in that wreck, drops 3 spots. David Owens is in 7th place.
Wow.
But even more frightening for him, he's 9 points away from elimination. And Bobby Dodson, who is in 9th, tied with Mason Smalley, actually, just 9 points behind Owens. Both of those guys are fast as hell at super speedways. And if Owens gets caught up in some foolishness, foolishness, he could easily find himself eliminated in that first round. That being said, though, Zach, David Owens also fast. He could easily win that race and punch his way in to that next round.
That's crazy. Yeah, I was about to ask about that. So you're saying that Owens is the one, essentially one above the cut line, because the guys below him in 8th and 9th are tied. So he is one small mistake away from nearly 10th, essentially. Like, oh man, that's really, really scary for David Owens. And yeah, David Owens, I know he has wins on super speedways in MRL, and he is always one of the guys up front, but that's a blessing and a curse at plate tracks, Mean Gene. Like you heard Buddy Solly, and I think it was Tony Iverson, and maybe it was Cook as well, talk about, I'm like that as well. I like being on that inside line on the first or second row because it makes it really easy to dodge wrecks. David Owens is one of those guys who likes to run up front, controlling the pack, kind of doing that Alex Bowman, William Byron technique you see where you're controlling both lines. I am not comfortable doing that. He has shown success doing that in the past, but my goodness, does that leave you open to mistakes? And one fast repair and essentially two healthy race cars can disappear out of thin air at a track like Talladega.
Yeah, it gets really terrifying up there. So he's got to hold off the charge of Bobby Dodson, Mason Smalley, Justin Parham, and all three of those guys, we have seen just how fast that they can run. I mean, hell, Owens, with especially, you figure if 19 or 20 guys show up, if those three guys are doing that podium, he runs 12th place or so, he's in trouble. He has that early wreck. He could find himself behind that 8-ball really fast and get eliminated. Not what you wanted to see happen to him, but yet here we are in that situation. Heck of a race today. Congratulations, Tony Iverson, big winner. And we're just going to see the speed of Mata and Sully just coming out. David Cook, those top four guys, like you said, just showing what they can do. And it's going to be fascinating to see if they can come through on the super speedways the way that they have so far early in this race. Zach, final thoughts?
Yeah, before I go, I mean, Jim, can you just give me real quick, give me the rundown of the 12 playoff drivers? Do you have it in front of you? In order?
All right, let's see here. Let's go back and look at...
Because me and Gene always on the spot, and also props this league. They update this stuff right away, which is awesome.
It really is. And guys, if you're interested in some racing, this is the league. MRL, we race Monday, Wednesday night. We have a sister league that races Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, Saturday morning. So really a lot of opportunities for you to come on out and race at all those different levels. Reach out to our admins, David Owens, Joe Volpus, John Beverly. They'll get you out there. All right, so final standings, what we're looking at right now, you got Tony Iverson is in the lead. Buddy Sully, 13 behind him. Both those guys have punched their ticket. David Cook, he is 21 points behind Tony Iverson. Jax Duvall in 4th, moving up 1 spot. Matthew Fritz in 5th, moving up 1 spot. Michael Mata in 6th, moving up 1 spot. And then here's where it gets really colorful. David Owens is in 7th. He is 9 points behind Mata. So there's a 9-point gap between 6th and 7th place. And then all of a sudden you got David Owens behind him, Austin Merrow in 8th. That's a 3-point difference. And then 9 and 10 is going to be Bobby Dodson and Mason Smalley tied at 50. Behind them, Justin Parham at 53. So Owens, 12-point lead over that last guy, but he's only got a 9-point lead over elimination. So scary spot for a lot of these drivers. Parham, Smalley, Dodson, Merrow, and Owens, all of them have got to be sweating bullets.
Yeah, absolutely. And get ready for lots of camera time next week, boys. All those people that me and Gene just named, because, yeah, that's going to be insane. The fact that it's at Talladega makes it not even that much crazier, just maxed out.
Are we going to get some looky-loos from the Wednesday night league showing up since it's a super speedway?
Why not, me and Gene? I hope so. Why not just go for like a 25, 30 car field just to add to the mayhem? It's Talladega. And it really, if you're a playoff driver, you can't be upset about that, because that is part of delivering under pressure, and that's what makes this such a special time of the year. But wow, we are just really, really in the midst of it now, and it's so insane what it's coming down to. And I can tell you right now, I didn't expect to be going into the round of 8, the end of the round of 12, with a driver like David Owens essentially on a must perform going into a truck like Talladega. That's why you gotta control these tracks like the Roval and Indy, even though they're so difficult. These are the ones you really gotta kind of grasp your destiny. But my goodness, me and Gene, this is going to be such an insane end the stretch of the season, and I just can't wait to see what happens next week as we go to another absolutely insane track where truly anybody can win. And yeah, we're not even talking about how anyone in that bottom 4 can punch their ticket to the round of 8 just by winning there. So it's going to be a great one, and it's just another great race today with these guys putting on a great show at a really, really difficult track and not letting it get sloppy. So props to them and props to this league. And yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, very few cautions today. I'll tell you what, as someone who's very familiar with having performance issues, I don't think David Owens is going to have performance issues. I think he's going to come through long and strong in that final race, not thinking that he's going to be victimized by anything of that nature. Final thoughts for me. What a race. Cream of the crop, Iverson, Sully, Cook, and Michael Mata throwing his name in there. Mata still trying to make up that gap in that playoff points, but he finds himself up into 6th. Should be safe. Should have, could have, would have, though. That might be the situation for these drivers in that bottom half. Going to have to be aggressive next week, and it's going to be exciting for you, the fans at home. Hey, hit like, hit subscribe, make sure you're there next Monday when we here at MRL does it once again. I'm Moon Gene Money. That's Zach Panzarella. We got Kevin Kyle in the booth. Always a pleasure. We'll see you next time, and as always, bottoms up and hammer.